be on this ganglia cell, still on nervous coordination. You're welcome again to the class. Now I have ganglia cells and their location. Like I told you before, that the nervous system is broadly classified into C.N.S. and P.N.S. I'm not talking about this one today. I'm not talking about today's class. So I'm going to be related to the P.N.S. So going to the P.N.S, we have two broad classification, which is the A.N.S. and the S.N.S. Autonomic nervous system, somatic nervous system, peripheral nervous system. Okay, now here there is a cells body around the autonomic nervous system. And the name of the cell bodies around this autonomic nervous system is called the ganglia cell. Ganglia cell. Ganglia cells. I'll write it this way. Ganglia cells are neurons. Within the A.N.S. A.N.S means autonomic nervous system, which I told you can refer to its word as what? The word is what? Involuntary coordination or what? Actions. So these are the ganglia cells, are cells of the autonomic nervous system. Okay. There's no ganglia cells here because here the brain is involved. But here is most likely the activities here is the spinal what? Called involuntary mechanisms. So ganglia cells and neurons. There are two types of this ganglia. Cells are the A.N.S that bring information to and through to the C.N.S. There are two ganglia of the A.N.S. What are they? We have the preganglionic neuron. Preganglionic neuron and postganglionic neuron. I repeat, the two ganglia cells of the A.N.S is the preganglianic neuron and the postganglionic neuron. The preganglionic neurons are neurons that is connecting the C.N.S. It connects the C.N.S. to the what? A.N.S. Please take note. The preganglionic connects the C.N.S. to the A.N.S. It is quite different from what we discussed before, which is the sensory neurons and the motor neurons. The motor neurons are within the P.N.S. The preganglionic and the postganglionic neurons are within the A.N.S. Take note. The sensory neurons are neurons moving impulses from the P.N.S. to the C.N.S. So which neuron move impulses away from the P.N.S., you can write it as well, sensory neurons. But motor neurons move impulses from the C.N.S. back to the what? P.N.S., so they should be motor neurons. But now when you come to the A.N.S., a different type of neuron is coordinating the activity between the C.N.S. and the A.N.S. Even though the A.N.S. is still part of the P.N.S., but there is a special neuron in the A.N.S. that coordinates its activity between the C.N.S. and the A.N.S. See, such as ganglia. So there are ganglia cells around this A.N.S. And these two ganglia cells are the preganglionic and the postganglionic. Just like the name implies, the preganglionic is something that's going to happen before, and post is going to be after. Pre, before, post, after. So that's what it is. So it is post, pre, and post. So the impulses are moving from the C.N.S. The preganglionic conveying impulses from the C.N.S. to the A.N.S. And then the postganglionic neuron move impulses from the A.N.S. now to the effector. These effectors can be what? Glands or organs. So now, I'll give an example. When you have a clear case of secretion, maybe there is a secretion, there is a pancreas, look at the pancreas, the pancreas, the pancreas, or the pancreatic glands, the glands that are, its work is most likely endocrine, hormones. Maybe if there is need for secretion of this pancreas hormone, like one of which is insulin. The insulin hormone is not part of what the body can do under its will. It is an involuntary secretion. So production of insulin from the pancreatic gland is an involuntary action. So that means if there is need for insulin to be secreted in the body, that means that the ganglia, the preganglionic neuron of the A.N.S. will first of all signal the C.N.S. first. And once it signals the C.N.S., it now moves impulses from the C.N.S. into the A.N.S. The preganglionic convey impulses from the C.N.S. to the A.N.S. But once it is doing that, it means that if this is a preganglionic neuron moving from the C.N.S. and it is going to the what? A.N.S. Okay, it's still going to meet another neuron there. So this one is preganglionic, this is postganglionic. So impulses are coming from here along this axon to here. So there are some dendrites through which the axons has to jump. The impulses have to jump and enter into this postganglionic. There is nothing connecting the both, but one of these will secrete a chemical substance called acetylcholine. The chemical substance that will aid the jumping or the synapsing, of one impulses to another. That's what the acetylcholine does. So one of the postganglionic will secrete such substance which allow the impulses to synapse and move through this what? Axon. So now this axon of the postganglionic move such information from the A.N.S. and now it's going to the gland. Look at the gland. Look at the pancreatic gland. Look at the pancreatic gland. So the postganglionic will now go straight to the what? Pancreatic gland, which is the effector. The effector is a gland that feel the impact of these impulses. So the postganglionic will now send impulses to the what? To the pancreatic gland and stimulate the pancreatic gland to start to produce hormone called what? Insulin. And this is how insulin becomes available. So secretion of insulin is an involuntary action, just like digestion and peristaltic movements is an involuntary action. So how does the body regulate, or how does the body secrete most of these substances? It does that through the word automatic system, autonomic. That's what it is called, autonomic nervous system. Their work is very, very automatic. And they use two ganglion cells, the postganglionic and the preganglionic and the postganglionic. I will give you an instance how these things work, how it works. Let's assume that this is a pancreatic gland, and there is no pancreas. There is no secretion. There is no hormone in this pancreas. There is no way this hormone is leaving this pancreas. And how does the autonomic nervous system coordinate, control this pancreatic gland? How do they do that? The ganglia cells through these two ganglia, the preganglionic and the postganglionic. First of all, impulses will get to the C.N.S. This is the central, which is comprising of the what? Brain and what? Spinal cord. Then the preganglionic will now move impulses from the C.N.S. and is bringing it to the A.N.S. And let's say that the impulse that is coming from the C.N.S. is that, please, this gland, you should make enough insulin to regulate the blood sugar. You should make insulin as soon as possible. That could be the information that is being carried out from the C.N.S. to the A.N.S. by the preganglionic neuron. But the impulses cannot go straight and reach the A.N.S. No, they need to synapse, just like you are going to one state to another, and the points, there is need that you must be on transit. Maybe you get into this station, you are being transiting from one bus station to another. So this is how it is working. It means that the preganglionic cannot get to the effector. The part of the ganglia that gets to the effector is the postganglionic. The preganglionic is just to bring information from the C.N.S. and must transmit such impulses to the postganglionic, which in turn will now move the impulses from the C.N.S., from the A.N.S. to any effector gland. It mustn't be pancreas gland. But for this study now, I am using the pancreas glands as a case study. So the postganglionic will trigger, because of its secretion, will trigger the pancreas to start to release its hormone, which are what? Insulin. In that case, insulin becomes what? Very, very available. Very, very much what? Available. This preganglionic and postganglionic are just like the sensory neuron and the motor neuron of the P.N.S. So what is acting as these two in the A.N.S. are the preganglionic neuron and the postganglionic neuron. Now, I would like us to look at these two aspects of the P.N.S. Look at these two aspects of the P.N.S. The P.N.S., which you likely know that comprises of the A.N.S. and the S.N.S. S.N.S, somatic nervous system, and then the A.N.S. is broadly classified into sympathetic, and parasympathetic. Sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. Okay, that's the P.N.S. So the P.N.S is broadly classified into A.N.S and S.N.S. The ganglia cells are around here. The two ganglia cells, like I told you, were what? The preganglianic, and the postganglianic. The sequence of the two. Now, but we have two broad classification of the A.N.S. The sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous system. The parasympathetic is most likely stimulated whenever you are in danger or whenever you are being chased by a fearful animal or a fearful being. You are running for your dear life. That is when the sympathetic is stimulated. Sympathetic nervous system is stimulated whenever there is danger. Then the parasympathetic is antagonistic. Both of them work antagonistically to each other. One is increasing one effect, one is decreasing. So the parasympathetic is activated whenever you are relaxing, digesting, or sitting down in a couch, relaxing, not thinking of much. This is when parasympathetic is being what? Stimulated or activated. Now, when you are being chased by a bear, you are being chased by a bear or a fearful animal, okay, it is assumed that this sympathetic will be activated. And because of the activation of sympathetic nervous system, there will be an increase in the heartbeats. Because of stimulation or activation of the sympathetic nervous system. But whenever you're sitting down, relaxing or digesting, your heartbeat is always normal because what is being activated when you are relaxing or digesting is what? Parasympathetic nervous system. So when this is increasing your heartbeat, parasympathetic is what? Decreasing your what? Heartbeats. In sympathetic, you can have it this way, that it is a clear case of automatic system that's trying to respond actively in times of danger. It tries to put up the body in times of fights. In times of fights and what? Flights. That is sympathetic nervous system. But this part of the nervous system is whenever you are relaxing, this is being activated to make the person calm down, relax. So the two are part of the A.N.S, but the two are very, very much like what? Antagonistic. Both of them are under the involuntary control or involuntary actions, parts of the peripheral nervous system. Thank you for watching.